Hi there. Good morning. I'm moving a little slowly today, so I'm a little bit late getting started, but all is well. And I'm so happy to be back to my practice and happy to be here with you all. Yesterday, we got through up another couple of different forms of Guanyin. So I'm going to just dive right in today and tell you about the next, let's see, one, two, three, four, five. We'll do five, and then that leaves us with Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, one, two, three. We'll get through most of them. Maybe we'll get through all of them. So we left off yesterday with Water Moon Guanyin, the power of silent reflection. Today we're beginning with Guanyin in a flower petal boat. So sometimes you see Guanyin and she's like in the petal of a flower. It's not when she's sitting on the lotus, but it's just one flower petal, and it's like a boat and she's going across the water, and the waters are usually looking kind of choppy, and that's because for this particular form of Guanyin, she protects sailors. And in fact, this is part of her, hello, this is part of her mythos, is that she protects sailors at sea, but this has come to extend to mean more than that. It's the rescue of those who are overwhelmed. So while Guanyin in the flower petal boat may have originated as helping sailors who were out at sea, lost at sea, waves coming into the boat, the water is choppy, they are out of their ability to control the boat. Now it has come to symbolize Guanyin as the rescuer of those who are overwhelmed. So if you are feeling overwhelmed, if you feel like just it's one wave after another in your life, you might want to consider calling out to Guanyin in her flower petal boat. The blue-throated Guanyin is similar to depictions of Shiva, where Shiva also is depicted with a blue throat, which means that he has swallowed poison, taken a toxin inside of himself in order to help others or save others. And this is also proof of his capacity to transmute poison. There is a form of Guanyin that's the same. She transmutes poison, and that's symbolized by her blue throat. So this can be not only actual literal poisons, like if you get sick, you might call on blue-throated Guanyin to help you transmute the illness, but it's also the poisons of anger, greed, fear, uh, the normal. There's like five poisons in the Dharma that are like represented by different animals. And one of them is like greed, and one is anger. I think one is fear. This is the kind of thing. So she transmutes our physical poisons, but she also will transmute our energetic poisons. Then we have Guanyin holding a lotus. So this is a pretty classic form of Guanyin that is sometimes also referenced in postures of Tara, where you'll see the goddess Tara holding a flower, and the flower kind of comes up, and she's holding the Utpala flower, the lotus, the blue lotus, by her ear. There's a form of Guanyin that also is holding a lotus flower in that same posture. And it's meant to kind of show the relationship in a way between Guanyin and Tara, but also it's kind of more importantly, it's the symbol of the ever unfolding Utpala flower, the blue lotus. And when you see that Guanyin, it means dwelling in a state of majesty. So, for example, maybe you need to, um, you want to do your best at an interview for a new job. You want to, um, uplift your spirit. You want to celebrate an accomplishment. You want to be happy about something in your life. You might call on Guanyin holding the lotus flower, because this is that sense of dwelling in complete majesty. Then we have there's a form of Guanyin that's just called life force Guanyin, where she might be just standing peaceably, but you see like energy rippling out from her, waves of energy. This is Life Force Guan Yin, and she turns curses back to their source. So anything that's been projected at you. And I just want to pause here to say, curses, as we think of them, we might think of a curse as something that someone deliberately does toward us, like that they're deliberately there working magic against us. And sure, that happens, you know, but there's other kinds of curses that come to us, like mal de ojo, where somebody's eye falls on what you're doing and they feel jealous or they feel somehow judgmental of you. That can also be a curse. It's not a deliberate curse. It's not a, volitional curse. Nobody's actually working anything. It's just that the welling up of negative emotion that someone has toward you bubbles over, bubbles out of them, out into the world, and it can land on you and stick to you like kind of like the evil eye, or kind of like people delighting in your misfortune, or people laughing at your misfortune, people mocking you. Those kinds of things, they're not specifically hexes, but they do curse you. So Life Force Guan Yin radiates a field, an auric field of life force that blocks curses and returns them to their source. And then finally, cave dwelling Guan Yin. Actually, I'm going to do two more today. Cave dwelling Guan Yin. This is a form of Guan Yin that we see sitting in a cave. She's at the mouth of a cave, sometimes in that same royal ease posture that we've seen before, with her arm on her knee, sometimes in lotus position. Yoginis in the Dharma will spend years at times living in caves in solitary retreat. 5 years, 13, 12, 13 years is not considered a long time to live in a cave to somebody who is attempting to attain spiritual mastery. And so, living in a cave, you encounter all kinds of creepy, crawly things: scorpions, spiders, snakes. Now, snakes, scorpions, spiders, creepy crawlies have a different representation in the Dharma. It's not only the physical ones that might gather around you in a cave, though that's a very practical interpretation if you're living in one, but also it represents how within the cave of our being, we ourselves carry lesser emotional states. We ourselves might carry creepy crawly feelings. We ourselves might carry negative projections. And so when that is the case, then we call upon Guan Yin of the cave to say, please deliver us from all of those creeping threats, those threats that creep up on us. And then the last, there's two more. Elder Guan Yin. Sometimes we see a version of Guan Yin where she's got deep lines in her face. She looks like an older woman. Her skin hangs more loosely. This isn't a very common depiction. Most of the depictions of Guan Yin we see are either youthful or middle-aged, but the elder Guan Yin has specific uh, a specific role, which is she protects us when we go into spaces that are unknown to us. So if you are going somewhere new, and it's interesting because it almost suggests that Guan Yin, similar to Baba Yaga, can don a disguise in and appear as she wishes at whatever age she wishes. Baba Yaga has that same quality. We often see her as an old woman, but she can assume whatever form she wants. And this form of Guan Yin is when you're going into an unknown place or an unknown setting, you can call upon Elder Guan Yin and ask her to help you just blend in, to help you be not noticed by harmful forces in a new space. And then, last but not least for today, Guan Yin, who is sort of hovering or floating. Sometimes we see an image of Guan Yin and she's kind of in the sky, floating above the water or floating above the land. She's hovering. This is a form of Guanyin that brings peace to all those who suffer with disasters. So this form of Guanyin comes in when there's been like an earthquake, a flood, a fire, a volcanic explosion. And this hovering Guanyin blankets the area with her peace, with her love, with her freedom, with her benevolence, her compassion, and her assistance. So, those are our handful of Guanyin forms that we're going to be looking at today. Yesterday, we had a really great card, the Orchid Priestess of Destiny, which was all about, you know, saying yes to our higher calling and trusting that there are aspects of fixed points in our lifetimes that are here to be turning points to help us. And yesterday, I had a couple different things happen that all kind of turned my mind toward that card. A couple different things that were just sort of bubbling up circumstantially in my environment and in my life, where I was like, I'm noticing this, and I acted on each of them. So I hope everybody here acted on some aspect of their fortune yesterday. So let's see what today's card is going to be. The Threshold. And here we have a floating form of Guanyin. We can see she's in the air, she's above everything. All around her, there's, kind of a dark and gloomy aspect, but she herself looks to be shedding flowers as she flies through that swirling shadow. There you go. You can see all the flowers coming. The Threshold. Let's see what this has to say. At the threshold you stand. Before you lies a way of being that is beyond fear. It is a sacred passing through a karmic veil into a new life of empowerment, peace, spiritual service to humanity, and joy in your own soul. You are embarking on a phase of deepest soul liberation into freedom of love that triumphs over fear. It has been quite a journey. Many, many lifetimes and much inner work have been required for you to be able to perceive the light of the divine, even beneath the density of fear. You are fast approaching the karmic threshold where you can shift from fear based to love based embodiment. This is a sacred and important time where it's wise to surround yourself with those who are able to support you in creating a love based reality. In the near future, you will be able to sustain this vibration even amongst beings who are based in fear. And then you will be of even greater service to life, love, and divine power on the planet. We are the company we keep. We are the company we keep. If you keep company with people who are harmful, who are hurtful, who are doing things to hurt themselves or others, then there's a part of you that resonates with that. It's terrible to have to acknowledge this. Nobody wants to think of ourselves this way. But if you are, married to somebody or dating somebody or close friends with somebody, or spending a lot of time with people who are very negative, who are always down, who are always unsatisfied, who have not decided to make a contribution, who are mean to you, who da, 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 it means that there's a part of you that believes that that's all you deserve. And no one can help you fix that except you. You have to decide that you deserve better. You have to decide that you deserve the best, actually, that you deserve the best, not because you're so great. It's because all of us deserve the best. We all deserve to be the best that we can be and to attract that. And it's one thing if you're holding space as like a practitioner for a client, or you're holding space as a um, sympathetic friend to someone who's going through a hard time, who's not like, at their best. We all go through those times. It's okay if we go through those times. It's okay if we help others through those times. But what I'm talking about is the compounding effect over and over and over again of exposing yourself to somebody who's decided that this is as high as they want to go in their life and they're not going to change. And someone who is choosing a lesser path again and again. So it's kind of like, in a way, I think many of us probably know what it's like to love an addict. And when you love an addict, you go through this where, in order to stay close with an addict, you end up inadvertently having to validate some of the behaviors of addiction so that you can keep the peace. Eventually, if you love someone who's an addict, often you come to a point where you might need to say, I need you to get help because I can't help you. I can't do this with you. It's pretty clear when it's something like drugs or even alcohol that's involved when we have to do that. It's not as clear when it's a different behavioral pattern. But if you have someone who's constantly talking poorly about themselves, or someone who constantly is gossiping, or somebody who's always got like a negative view of others' creativity, or somebody who's always judgmental, those are also addictions. They're behavioral addictions. They're not the same as drug addictions. It's not the same as an alcohol addiction, but it's still an addiction. Figuring out how to hold a loving space for somebody to transform a negative behavioral pattern, and also knowing when to distance yourself from it, is a very important discernment. Coming to a threshold where you want to create something beautiful and good in the world, and you look around and the people around you are not in support of that, or the people around you are mocking your dream or your vision, or the people around you don't believe in you. These are much more subtle, insidious forms of behavior that actually will subtly negate your capacity to create this goodness. So, from time to time, it's not a bad idea to withdraw into yourself, to take a weekend, a week, or a month, or a moon cycle, a season, and withdraw into yourself and really assess the friendships you keep and the people around you. Are they cheering you on, or do they not know how to celebrate your joy? Are they genuinely sympathetic when you go through something difficult, or are they looking for a reason to use your misfortune as a way to make themselves look or feel good? Those are the kinds of harmful behaviors that we kind of have to watch out for when we are wanting to create beauty, peace, and healing in our communities, because there will always be people who want to kind of tear that down. So let's not allow that. Let's consider the company we keep. And let's also remember that that state of creativity is just like, um, just like a little baby chick. It's fragile in the beginning, and it needs light and warmth and kindness and nurturance and nourishment in order to grow. And the same with our positive aspirations. We need them to grow in a space where they're supported. And if there are people who are actively involved in something that is the antithesis of creating beauty and healing, we may need to take space away from those people for a time in order to refresh and restore our commitment until it's strong enough that we know that our light will shine through anything that is projected upon us. And this isn't like a one time deal. You don't kind of go through it and it's like, I'm done. You actually have to go through it sometimes numerous times, almost at every point when you are ready to create something new, you have to go through this because you yourself are holding that little baby chick in your hands of this new reality that you want to unfold. So, today, let's discern carefully who we share our aspirations with. Let's reach for that light. Let's stand with purpose at that threshold of creation, gather our resources, and then step across. And that's our short bit for today, if that's what you were here for. Now let's dive into practice with 3 prostrations before the shrine. And let's take refuge. Namo Guru Be. I take refuge in the inner teacher. Namo Buddhaye. I take refuge in the great mother of compassion. Namo Dharmaye. I take refuge in the wisdom of the ages. Namo Sanghaye. I take refuge in the community of practitioners. And let's set our intention, a person, place, situation, or circumstance that will benefit from today's practice, and continuing to hold our sisters, Johanna, Pippa, Red Fox, and anyone else who's going through major life transitions right now. And I'd like to just take a moment here to say that I think it's the height of duplicitousness that the President of the United States of America is clapping himself on the back for potentially negotiating a temporary ceasefire during the month of Ramadan with one hand, while on the other hand, he's literally arming the war machine against innocent people. For all of those innocent people. And calling on hovering Guanyin to spread over and blanket the earth with her peace and compassion. May there be a ceasefire not only for Ramadan, but forever. And let's recite the 4 immeasurables. May I be a source of loving kindness in this world and all worlds, bringing a generous heart to all my thoughts and doings. May I be a vehicle of compassion in this world and all worlds, ever mindful and aware of the tremendous suffering of others. May I be a brimming vessel of joy in this world and all worlds, delighting in the happiness of others as their suffering is alleviated. May I be a balance point of equanimity in this world and all worlds, seeing all as equals and all as deserving of goodness. I realized I forgot my dedication of offerings prayer yesterday after the fact, so I light this candle as a symbol of the enlightening Dharma way. May it shine brightly for the benefit of all beings. I light this incense as an offering to Guan Xian, she who hears the cries of the world, mother of all. Om Ahum. 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 Reverently, I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind and present clouds of every type of offering, actual and virtual. I confess all my destructive actions accumulated since beginningless time and rejoice in the meditation of all holy and ordinary beings. Please, Guan Yin, remain until the end of samsaric existence and turn the wheel of Dharma for sentient beings. I dedicate my own merits and those of others to the great enlightenment. 108 recitations of Namo Guanxi Yin Pusa, calling out to the forms of Guanyin that hi Aideen, that we connected with today, and hi Astrid, and asking those forms of Guanyin, whether it's Guanyin in the cave, chasing out the spiders and scorpions of our lesser emotions, whether it's Elder Guanyin, protecting us as we move into some new phase or cycle of life, whether it's Guanyin in the flower boat, carrying us through times that we find overwhelming. Let's call on those forms of Guanyin with the mantra Namo Guanxi Yin Pusa. Namo Guanxi Yin Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxi Yin Pusa. Namo Guanxi Yin Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxi Yin Pusa. Namo Guanxi Yin Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxi Yin Pusa. Namo Guanxi Yin Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxi Yin Pusa. Namo Guanxi Yin Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxi Yin Pusa. Namo Guanxi Yin Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxi Yin Pusa. And our brief practice for the Mani Reciter of Calm by Gyaltse Tokme Zangpo. Lama dang kun suksum lakchak salo dakni changchuk nimpor chike bar gong dong gong du ke pa de dang der tadu tuje champo jetsin shing gusum gewe chila chapar sho jamdang ningje champo kun lang ne tuje champo dil jarger panam lame changchuk chala go pe cheer tuje champo trin leje par sho. Homage to the jewel to the Buddha. No, homage to the Guru and the three jewels. Wherever I may be reborn in that place, may I always follow the great compassionate one and dedicate my body, speech, and mind to virtue, inspired by loving kindness and great compassion, in order to lead all Mahakarunika's followers to supreme and unsurpassable awakening. May I carry out the great compassionate one's activity. Lama dankun suksum lakchak salo dakni changchuk ni porchi ke bar gang dang gang du ke pa de dang der tadu tuje champo chetzenching gusum gewe chala chaparsho jamdang ningje champo kunlang ne tuje champo dul jarge panam lame changchu chala go pechir tuje champo chenleje parsho. And now 108 recitations of Om Mani Padme Hum, sending our energies out into the universe to all who might be in need. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 And let's give thanks for our teachers. May all of my blessed teachers enjoy long, happy, healthy, productive lives and great support for their good works. May all beings benefit from their wisdom. May they enjoy a swift and happy rebirth. And long life prayer for Lama Dechen Yeshe Wangmo. Om Sosti, through the powerful blessings of the immortal Pema Jungye and his consort, may the three secret qualities of the Dakini of Supreme Bliss Yeshe Wangmo be utterly stable, and may the light of her activities shine on the lotus groves of the teachings and of beings, so that they blossom in radiant splendor. And let's dedicate the merit. May the merit of this practice and all of my activities be of endless benefit to all beings in all realms, beginningless and continuous. May all obstacles be overcome and suffering cease at the sound of liberation. May all beings be free from suffering and its causes. May all beings have happiness and its causes. May we carry the essence of Guanyin in our hearts. Namo Guanxin Pusa. And we close with a bow to Guanyin, bow to one another, and a bow to the inner teacher. Wishing everyone a great day, and I'll be back tomorrow. Bye now.